Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia and welcome back to the Overwatch Transfer Roundup. So this is going to be a little bit of a shorter one. There aren't too many moves going on at the moment because we're in full swing for the Contenders season, and we're also in full swing of the Overwatch League playoffs, which have just actually finished in fact, and we're heading to the grand finals in early October, but that is a different video. Today we are going to be taking a look at the transfers that have happened. There aren't that many, as I said just now, and we're going to start off in North America, where we see 3 people leaving Triumph. This is the Dutch support player ANJ or Ange, the American tank player Nick, and the Bulgarian DPS player Buck. They will all be leaving Triumph and will no longer be assigned. Triumph is a team that doesn't seem to be able to nail down their roster. It's always moving, always changing, and it's kind of hurting them, and they haven't lived up to the expectations that a lot of people thought of them. So yeah, it moves again at Triumph, and we'll see how that works out. Also, in the European region, I believe, Vasta Gaming have let go of the Swedish DPS player Cage. He will no longer be assigned and will be looking for a team, and I wish him all the best. Now we have a disbandment to be discussing. So this is the disbandment of Malibu in North America. So this means that they will be letting go of their entire roster and they will all be becoming unassigned. This is unfortunate, and again another disbanding team in North America, which is something we see quite a lot of, and something we don't want to see a lot of, but ends up happening a lot. So yeah, it is what it is, and we'll work with it. But these are the people leaving. So the American manager Wish, the Korean coach Card, Canadian coach Morb, Korean support player Baxin, and the rest are American, so the support player Fishcake, and the 2 tank players Maximus and Cedro, and the DPS player N2S. They will all be leaving Malibu and will no longer be assigned. Also, Malibu had on loan Aspire, the American DPS player from Revival. He will be moving back to Revival and become active on that roster once more, and I wish him all the best returning to Revival. Also, we have more moves at Triumph, and this is another 3 people being let go. This is the Finnish support player Snap, the Korean tank player Off, and the Argentinian DPS player Valen. They will all be unassigned, and this is because Triumph are in fact disbanding. It is no surprise to me that Triumph have called it a day. Triumph, they've had a lot of upheaval. It has not worked out for them as they thought it would, and we have now lost 2 teams in North America in this video, which is, it's not great, is it? We don't like to see it, and hopefully those spots get filled by some new Open Division teams coming up through the ranks, and I wish them all the best, and all of these players all of the best as they look for new teams. Then we have a move in, I believe, the Pacific region, because there is a Pacific tournament going on. This is 2 people coming in at Jaeger. This is the Singapore DPS player Cryptic and the Myanmar support player Kev Kun. They will both be coming in to Jaeger, and I wish them all the best heading into that Pacific tournament. And it's nice to see the Pacific getting in the back into the swing of some Overwatch action after the Pacific Contenders division got shut down earlier this year. Also, we have a move at Ad Astra Aspera. This is them letting go of their Austrian support player Levitate. He will no longer be assigned and will be looking for a team. Also, we have someone coming out of retirement. This is the French coach Get Amazed. He will be coming in as a player development coach for Drifters. Drifters are a team currently competing in North America, and they were founded in July. So this is a team we could be seeing coming in and perhaps usurping one of those teams that we've lost today, like Malibu or Triumph. Then we move back to the Saints, actually, in North America, who have let go of 2 players. This is them letting go of the Korean support player HTP and the American tank player Gaio. They will no longer be assigned, and they will be looking for a team. Also, Shoes Crew EU in the EU region, quite obviously, because they're Shoes Crew EU. I didn't have to explain that, did I? They are letting go of the Dutch tank player A10, and I wish him all the best as he goes forward. He is no longer assigned, and will be looking for a team. Shoes Crew EU, they're fairly consistent in Contenders EU right now. But no one can contend that British Hurricane team, and I think a lot of teams are trying to make moves to try and change that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if this can make a difference for Shoes Crew EU. And moving in the Overwatch League, which is going to be few and far between right now, we actually have a movement at Toronto Defiant. This is them letting go of their interim head coach, Lil Bo, the French coach. He will no longer be assigned. This is in light, obviously, Toronto Defiant were out of the playoffs at this point. So this is obviously the start of the moves for Toronto Defiant in their off-season. They will be looking for a new head coach, I am sure, and they're a team that can very much improve on what they've done this season, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. Again, we're approaching, especially after the grand finals, which are the early part of October. Once we get past that, it's going to start being hype for transfers, because we're going to have movements in the Overwatch League. We're going to have a lot of interesting stuff going on, and there's stuff to clear up like decay and stuff like that, so bear with it. There's going to be some very interesting transfer roundups coming up later this year. But moving on, and we have a movement at O2 Blast. This is the Chinese support player, Young Jin, who was actually a manager at O2 Blast. You remember Young Jin of the Shanghai Dragons. Remember him walking off the payload against Dallas Fuel last year? Yeah, that's the one. He is still manager at O2 Blast, but he's also going to take up another role. He's going to be a player with the LV Jing EP team. Now, I believe LV Jing EP actually compete in this specific tournament that is coming up. So that's super, super interesting. And it's nice to see Young Jin getting out his mouse and keyboard once again and stepping up to be a player as well as being a manager of O2 Blast. And it'll be super interesting to see him get going once again. We have a movement in North America. This is Infamous letting go of their Korean DPS player Toxia. He will no longer be assigned and will be looking for another team. Then we have a movement in Korea. This is OZ Gaming. Now, this is them letting go of the Korean tank player Free. Now, there is a backstory to this, and it is not a pretty one. So, Free was originally part of Meta Sky Foxes, and they parted ways with him after they investigated allegations of sexual misconduct. He then, those allegations continued, and he joined up with OZ Gaming. OZ Gaming have now ended their partnership because the player, Free, has been found guilty of sexual assault involving a minor and has been sentenced to 12 months in prison. So, that obviously means he is not going to be playing for that team anymore, and rightly so, and he will probably never play Overwatch again at that level. He has had times at LW Red and Kongdu Unasia before, and this is a shame to see someone that can't behave themselves in that way. I believe it was it was involving the player molesting his ex-girlfriend while she slept, and that is, I mean, no, and she was a minor at the time, and this is something that should not be happening, and we've seen it not to this extent in the Overwatch League, but we've seen bad cases of this in the Overwatch League as well, of players that just don't behave themselves and don't know how to behave. You do not do stuff like this, and he deserves to lose his pro career because of it, and he deserves to be spending his 12 months in prison, and I hope he learns, because you cannot do stuff like that, and that's all I'll say on the matter. But we are going to get past that gruesome business. Now we are going to move over to Shoes Many Crew EU, who are picking up a player from the Ultimates. This is a move in EU, obviously. This is them picking up the Swedish DPS player Erky. He will be moving over to Shoes Many Crew, and I wish him all the best going forward. Also, we have a move at Angry Titans. This is them letting go of their French tank player Crocs, and he will no longer be assigned. Angry Titans, again, struggling to hit the heights that they used to be at, and I wish them all the best in trying to find that old form back. Another move in North America, this is Karasuno letting go of their American DPS player S9M, or Sam? I'm not sure how to say his name, I just say S9M. He will no longer be assigned, and I wish him all the best going forward. Also, two more movements at Noble in North America. This is them bringing in players, so this is the American support player Fishcake and the Korean DPS player Sparer. They will both be coming into Noble in their efforts to improve themselves for this Contenders season in North America, and I wish them all the best. Also, we have a movement at the Paris Eternal Academy that still doesn't exist. This is the Korean tank player Muse, and he was obviously on loan at WGS Phoenix. He's inactive at Paris's academy that actually doesn't play anymore. So that may be an inkling of perhaps what Paris Eternal want to do a little bit down the line later this year, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. And then last but not least, we have a movement into Ad Astra Espera. This is the Russian manager Sophie Johnson, who will be coming in into that team out of retirement. So it's another person coming out of retirement, and we love to see it. But that is it for our Transfer Roundup today. And I think it's a short one. Nonetheless, it's a short one. But again, this is the calm before the storm. Remember that. When you look at a month's time, we will be at the end of the grand finals in the Overwatch League. We'll be coming to the end of the Contenders season as well. And things will explode. Especially in November and December, things will explode in terms of transfers. It is going to be hectic. It may even require more than one transfer roundup a week, depending on how active these teams become. So stay tuned, because the end of the year is going to be an exciting one. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you'd like to give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.